Okay, I'm going to take you through the shaping of the grip itself. I did the preamble just a while ago, and I'm going to use the spoke shave again, the flat spoke shave. And basically, I'm going to clean it right out. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you set up that spoke shave so that you can do it so easily and it just peels off like that? Setting up the spoke shave is so very, very important to be able to do that right. So I'm going to show you right now very quickly. When I take my spoke shave, like you see here, it's set up right, but I'm going to undo that. Just undo the plane cap, take that off, take the blade out. This is where it throws a lot of people out. What are you going to do? This is awful. You got the thing all undone. Well, here's how you set it up. I do this with students all the time. Put the blade back in, put the plane cap back on, snug it up, not super tight, just a little bit of tight, then bring your adjustments way back so that you can't feel the blade. I got my thumb on top and I'm not moving my thumb, I'm just holding it there. I'm pulling it back till I can't feel anything on my thumb whatsoever. Now, I call that the blade has disappeared. I'm going to bring that back up by turning it, putting my thumb on there, holding it just gentle, not super tight, and bring it until I can just feel the blade touch my thumb. Then I'm going to do that on the other side. See, I did it here, now I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to make the blade just touch my thumb. It's important to know how to set the tools up, otherwise you can be doing this all day. It's never going to get you anywhere. I'm snugging that down, the plane cap down. And now I've got it what I call zero, meaning that I've just touched the blade to my finger, and that is enough to cut right there. Now, if it wasn't enough to cut, then I would adjust it a bit more. But here's the trick. I have the plane cap down really tight now, and I bring it to this side here, and I pull. It cuts beautifully. I bring it to the other side, and it's cutting too heavy. I'm going to bring that back a bit, and it's cutting the same, and the middle will take care of itself. If you have this side and this side cutting exactly the same, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other side, like a mathematical equation. There's the teacher in me. And then I know I'm going to have a good cut, and I get these beautiful little curls coming off of it. So now I've made my line before, and I've already done the other side. So I'm going to I'm only cutting on the forward stroke. Don't forget that. A lot of people think that it goes both ways. No. Only on the forward stroke. And as I've said before, I'm doing this mainly for my students, but anybody else that wants to follow along, that's fantastic. Now we have an issue here. I always tell my students, you make sure that you let the wood talk to you. Here on this side, I'm having the wood pull, and it's actually sort of chunking out. So I'm going to turn the blade around, and I'm going to go what some people would consider to be backwards. Or I could stand over here and do it and pull it towards myself. I prefer to not change direction myself and just change the blade. And now it's cutting smooth again, and I'm getting a beautiful, nice, smooth cut. Here I have to go this way because the grain is going the opposite direction on this side. Now, I have a scale on here, and what I'm wanting to do is make that scale come to a point. So what I'm going to do is take the spoke shave and move it across the grain this way and carry it off this way. And that's going to give me that point eventually. There we go. And so I get that down. Now the other tool I can use would be a block plane. This is a low-angled block plane, and you can use whatever variety of block plane you want, but you have to remember it has to be set up properly as well. And again, you have to be careful which way you're going. In this case here, I probably would have to turn around and go this way, but it seems to be cutting decently well. Okay, cutting that through. There we go. So you can use a block plane as well, sorry. Now, the other thing I want to use is one of these. This is a hand-cut rasp. Now, you don't have to buy a real expensive one like this. You can get cheaper ones that are out there as well. But if you buy like a Nicholson rasp, nothing against Nicholson, but all of their cuts are all in a line. So when it cuts through your wood, it goes bang, 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 bang. This one is made by a company called Ariu, and it's made in France. And all of these little stitches are put in individually and in random order. And because of that, you're not going to get that banging as you cut. It's going to be much more smoother and much easier to control. I can use the flat side, as I am right now, and I can carve with it. And I can use the round side to get into that rounded area there. And again, I'm only cutting on the forward stroke. The back stroke is a drag stroke. And the forward stroke is the cut stroke. That's really important. And here's where I'm going to put in that nice point on the scale. That is this walnut scale. It's on the paddle. Now I put the walnut scale on the paddle for two reasons. One, it really looks good. Two, it adds strength because it's basically adding a laminate to the paddle. And it's cheaper to do it that way too, because I can use 4/4 lumber, which is 1 inch thick, and add on these scales, the scales to it, and the scale is going to give us the thickness that I want, which is about 1 1/4, 1 1/8 inch for thickness, and the width, of course, is taken care of by how we bandsaw it out in the first place. But that gives me strength because it's laminated. It gives me the ability to use 4/4 lumber rather than 5/4 lumber. And I think it just looks really good in the end. So you have a nice paddle all around. It looks good, is strong, and is a cheaper paddle to make. So now I take this rasp until I get it to the place where I want. Then I go to a finer one. This is also a hand cut rasp. And finish that off. Notice how I just, in the process of doing it, I flip it. If I'm going in here, flip it. If I'm going on the flat, depending on what it is that I need to do. Now, as I'm working this, the actual place where my hand is going to go, I'll feel that. Feel for the fingers below, feel for the palm above, and so that it fits nice and is grooved properly so the hand is going to feel comfortable on there. If there's any situation where there is rough edges or there is angular edges, that's going to cut into your hand during the time that you're paddling. It's really important that over the long haul, your hand is going to feel comfortable on that grip, and it's important then, of course, to make sure that that's all rasped to a point where it's ready to be sanded. And you try and get the majority of the shaping done at this point in time, and make that look really, really smooth and pretty. And this is where you also are going to look for any grain patterns. You can accentuate the grain patterns just by shaping it the way you want. If you look back on my Instagram site, sunset_paddles, you'll see that the paddle grips change with every paddle because I saw something in the grain pattern sometimes where I actually, I got to stop here because I love the grain pattern where it is right now. And sometimes that is maybe not where you intended to stop in the first place, but it looks really good. As long as it still feels good, and that's what's important, you might want to stop and say, I like the grain pattern there. That's where I'm going to stop. All right, so then I'm going to finish that off and make that look really pretty. So it really didn't take a long time to get that shape into the shape that I want, and the rest of that is going to be done with a sander at a later date. The other thing you need to do and remember to do is take a file card and clean out your rasp on a regular basis so it doesn't get clogged up, especially if you're using wood that has a little bit of sap in it, resin in it, that is going to clog up your rasp. You don't want to have that happen. You can't sharpen these things very easily, that's for sure. So you clean those out and use that on a regular basis to keep your rasp clean and ready to rock and roll on what you're doing here. So that's how we make a grip. It's not quite done, but pretty close to being done. I will just have to do a little bit of fine rasping there, and then the rest of it's going to be done with a sander to make it feel good for my palm, for my hand as I'm using it. All right, see you next time.